Help. I am thinking of to get advice from Prudy. Send questions for publication to. Questions may be, Dear Prudence. As a recreational cross-dresser, I am increasingly feeling like I want to transition, which would make me trans and a lesbian. However, you transitioning while not fully supporting LGBT rights. I think it's good to have robust, progressive views on LGBT rights, but they're not a necessary precondition for transitioning. Caitlyn Jenner is, Dear Prudence. I swore off dating after my last relationship. It's been several years, now I have developed feelings for a colleague, and I feel like that's all coming undone. I've had passing you co-worker crush. You do not have to leave town, and this will probably happen again over the course of your life. Unless you've heard related video the benefits of